Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I am broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Veganuary. There's only 2 more days to help me, help them, help the animals. There are a few ways you can do that. 1, donate to our fundraiser here on Twitch. We have a modest 10 British pounds goal. They're a British charity, therefore the currency. But if you can't donate, don't worry. Just watch my stream and bring your friends because I'll be making my own donation at the end of the month based on my Twitch unique viewers count. Hello, Sarah! Sarah's here right away. Wow! How are you? Thank you for joining me. Today is Thursday. I keep thinking it's Friday, but it is Thursday, and that means time for more illustration work. So I'm literally just going to pick up where I left off yesterday on my bees onomatopoeia piece. So I may actually want to print another one of these sheets. I only printed one yesterday. I thought maybe I could figure it out, but I realized there are some other things I can try for this same composition, but to reach something that I feel satisfied with. Right now what I've been trying is starting with 2 main bees so that I have the speech bubbles worked out. I want the speech bubbles to be on the top of the piece. We'll look through all my other pieces so far in this series, and we don't have one yet where both speech bubbles are at the top, so we want variety. And then I started adding a 3rd bee because it felt a lot more balanced to have them looking at each other so that you could have something to follow, and then tried drawing it even bigger. Honestly, I actually like this one quite a bit, but I do feel like I want to redraw it because the angle of this bee just doesn't seem to work with these 2. So there's still some more stuff to try before I settle. Oh, nice. The app notified you right away. It heard us. It heard us bad-mouthing, and it was like, oh, I guess I better get it together. I wonder why that is. So strange. I feel like technology just doesn't work as we expect randomly. Because this is a completely unrelated, but an example of that. Like my watch gives me notifications from my Google Calendar and from a few other apps that I've allowed. But I also have set a bedtime so that after, I think 10 p.m., I think that's what I said, after 10 p.m. it shouldn't be buzzing me for anything because it's bedtime. But it still will buzz me randomly, and I don't even know why, because the few times when I'm still awake enough to like quickly look at my wrist and see why is it buzzing, there's nothing on the screen. There's nothing there. So I don't know if it's just wigging out and buzzing for no reason, or if some notification is somehow getting through and it's just not, the bedtime limit is not kicking in and it's like sneaking through that filter or something. I have no idea what's going on with that. So feels like a similar kind of thing. Okay, I do want to print. Let's see what I'm gonna. I gotta move my mouse over here. It shouldn't take as long as yesterday because all I have to do is open the file, and then I'm not gonna move my stream over to digital because I just need to open this file and click print. So I'll do that real quick. Let's see. It's under visual art, art creation aids, and it's the JPEG one. Ooh, I did figure out though. I found a new solution to that problem that I had yesterday. That problem where the only solution for years up until now was to uninstall and reinstall Photoshop and completely wipe my preferences. It's someone last year, I found a thread, found a workaround that actually works. Alright, that's printing now. So I'm super excited because I don't have to uninstall my preferences anymore. And it's actually a fairly simple workaround. What it sounds like is somehow Adobe and Epson are not playing nice together. And so sometimes if the Epson printer is set as the default in Adobe, which Adobe chooses that on its own, it will crash. Oh, sorry about that. Hopefully you heard enough of the story. But anyway, the printer, as long as you open a new file, the solution is this. You open a new file, choose the default printer for that by going into the print, like going in like you're going to print. You don't have to actually print, but just so that print settings come up, it'll be set to Epson. Change that to something like Adobe PDF or any other printer. Then just click done. You don't have to print, just click done so that that setting is saved. You can just close that file, open the file that's crashing Photoshop, and then voila, you can print again. So just something between the two programs is not jiving. And Adobe can't seem to get it figured out because, once again, like I said yesterday, so many people are complaining about this. So many new threads from last year because I've been dealing with this for years. So every time I actually dig into it, there's even more threads about this issue happening. I'm so happy someone finally figured out at least what the problem is and how to work around it, if not a way for Adobe to actually fix it. But I'm happy to do this workaround if it means I don't have to redo all of my settings one by one as they pop up and be a problem, because I don't remember what they all are. Some of them are just so rare, and I could be working on stuff for weeks and then suddenly this setting is a problem and now I have to dig in there, figure out where it is so I can change it. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm so excited. I'm so happy about that. Okay, I think what I need to do is have the bees all facing sort of the same direction. So what I was doing is having one sort of on their side, one from behind but facing this way, and then these two were working, but not this one because it was on its side, which doesn't make sense with, if they're just all climbing in a pile, it should still make sense with the pile or with sort of their little herd. So that's what I'm going to try now, is see what it's like if I just draw them sort of like this. Really super rough, not trying to get any details at all. Other than I want to add the eyes because that really helps me with thinking about where are they looking? Where are we going to look at? Because we humans love eyes and we follow eyes. Even if they're not really eyes, if they're just holes in a building that happen to be perfectly placed to look like eyes on a face, like windows in a house or something, we'll even look at that and be like, oh, look at the eyes, the house is looking at me, or something. Either happy or creeped out. Either way, the eyes matter, so that's why I'm adding those eyes in there. So, all right, so the way I've sketched it this time, we have this person's looking here. This person's not quite looking here, so that's kind of off. And then this person these two have a gaze that's sort of missing each other. So let's try it again. Let's try a bee coming in from the side. I guess my brain is sort of absorbing what it means to sketch something that is just a big blob of individuals, because it feels like it should be so easy, and it's not. It's actually really hard. This is a big puzzle for me. So we're going to have these three, and the third one is just there to help create this triangle so that we can be guided. Even if it's super subtle and nobody realizes they're being guided when they look at the final piece. Having this skeleton to support the rest of the illustration later, that's super important. So this way we do have, this person's looking here, so we're brought to these eyes look over here, and then these eyes look here. But it is a little bit, it's really symmetrical. That's not necessarily a problem, but I don't want it to be a distraction. I'm going to try something. So I'm folding this in half as if it is a book, just so I can see what would it be like if I was holding it like a book. So this is what I've been talking about, the gutter. I'd usually just draw a line, but physically what's happening with the gutter is that you get this shape with your book, right? And that means that everything in here gets sucked in, and the thicker the book, the more of this will be sucked into the gutter and you won't actually see it, so it'll be more like this. And as I've said before, it's okay, we can sacrifice some things to the gutter. So it's not necessarily a problem that we have this individual in there. But it might be better if they were slightly over to the side, so at least the eyes weren't lost. Because like I was saying, humans love eyes. So to have that eye sacrificed, it just doesn't feel good. But we could have, you know, this part of their body falling in there and being squished up, because we have these two characters are our speaking characters, a bubble here and a bubble here, probably a speech bubble, and then we would fill the space in with more bees facing in various directions, and maybe you only see the tail or just the legs on one side or something like that. And we may even have some eyes falling in the gutter if we use this composition. But we've got these three main ones with a distinct purpose. These two to have the speech bubbles, this third one to sort of complete that triangle and move our eye around the scene. Yeah, it takes so much thought. I mean, it's really fun. It's like making your own puzzle. So I have like, all of my illustrations are, I create a puzzle as I'm creating the illustration, so I'm like creating the puzzle and solving it at the same time. But yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work. That's why it's so important for me to get good sleep every night, because I need my brain to be at max in order to create and solve this illustration puzzle. Plus, the good sleep is great because then you might come up with new ideas that you didn't have the day before because your brain has some time to think about it. I was just thinking about that earlier today because I do not produce work at the rate that so many people in my life, professionals, have told me I need to in order to be a professional illustrator. And maybe I will never reach that sort of career milestone where I'm just in high demand and I have so many projects to juggle and everybody really wants my work for their book or something. But I'm actually okay with that now. I wasn't okay with that before, but I'm okay with that now because I would rather make work like this, where I put that time into it, because I can't make this work without that time. The time that I am not working on it is just as much a part of the illustration process and a part of the final work as the time that I am working on it. So that's funny that I was just thinking about that today. That, yeah, I don't mind if I don't create as much work as my professors and all our guest illustrator speakers and everybody told me that I needed to. Everybody was like, you need to be churning out an illustration a week or whatever. I'm like, this is just not happening. It's not happening. Not and me stay sane and healthy, so. Yep. That, for sure, being a professional, quotes, artist is really just a recipe for burnout. Because people don't value artistic effort. Especially now in the time of AI, it's really tough because it takes someone 20 years, 30 years to develop, and that someone is me, to develop this process, this style, this unique way of telling a story and trying to bring joy into the world. And then so many AI models just take this. They take your final result. They don't ask your permission. There's no legal, nothing has happened yet. I'm sure there are lawsuits in the works, if not in the proceedings now, over this. But right now it's such a new thing. For instance, Meta, social media, will just take any picture you post publicly, and maybe privately, I don't know, but at least publicly, and it becomes part of their AI model, and you have no say in that. Or at least the process to get yourself removed is extremely convoluted and difficult to be approved. Like, you can't just click a box and it says, don't include me in AI. Like, at least DeviantArt had this huge issue when they introduced AI because they put everybody's art in there without permission. But at least they introduced the thing, okay, you can remove it, and from now on there's a little tick box where you can say, don't include my art. It does include it by default, but you can always uncheck that box when you can't do it on the app, which is annoying. But if you go in, if you're either submitting it on the web or you go in and edit it on the web, then you can untick that box. You can't do that with Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook. So that's actually why I just deleted my Instagram account. Lots of people ask me, so it's tough to tell people that. Lots of people ask me, oh, do you have an Instagram? I want to follow your Instagram. And I'm like, no, I don't have an Instagram. Don't use Instagram anymore. The only reason I use Facebook is because I actually have a lot of nice connections with real people there. So that's why I continue to use Facebook as a professional outlet to share my work. But there I try not to actually post any final images. I'll post either photos, like work in progress photos, or I'll post links to the DeviantArt, and then that way it's just a link instead of actually uploading the image to Facebook. So hopefully it's not being included in AI. But getting back to what you were saying, I think it's true, because the people who created these AI models obviously didn't value the artistic effort, or at least didn't value the people who put in that artistic effort, because if they did, they would have instantly thought, oh, well, we better get how are we going to get mass permission from everyone to build our AI model? How are we going to get people on board? Instead, they're like, look at all these great images on the internet. Let's load them in. So, it's so hard. It's hard because AI in itself is not a problem to me. AI is just an advanced search engine type of tool. It takes the results it gets, and then it, instead of just providing you with the results, it sort of puts it together. And so it can do that with music and with imagery and all kinds of stuff. But the way it's being used makes a huge difference. Just like I think of like a knife. A knife could be used to chop vegetables for your salad, or a knife could be used to kill someone. So it's just a tool. AI is just a tool. I'm not against AI in principle, but I am against the way it's being used in general. It's really tough. Right? Who needs permission? It really makes my day when I actually have real people asking me for permission for stuff. Because that does come up sometimes, mostly with my food photos. People will be like, could I use your photo from this restaurant? I want to talk about this restaurant. I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to promote this restaurant. So yes, please go ahead, and thank you so much for asking. I really appreciate that. A lot of people don't think of that because of how easy it is to get images off the internet, and they feel anonymous. The images feel anonymous because of the way the internet presents them. Even though somebody somewhere had to take that picture. Unless it's AI generated, then it's sort of a community effort. So I wonder if maybe I could help myself here by not having it from top down, although that was the original sketch. But if I angled it just a little bit. Then again, I don't have very many top-down images so far in this series. I only have the frogs, I think, is the one top-down image I've done so far that I can remember. Yeah, especially on the internet. That's why I actually limit myself. I don't know if it seems like it to anybody looking from the outside in, but I limit myself greatly just because the internet is such a draining, and this word is thrown around fairly lightly, but I honestly think it's a toxic place. So many people around me sort of feel like you have to use it. You have no choice. If you're not using it, there's something wrong with you, or you're doing something wrong. Something like you're actually doing bad. Like you're a bad person if you don't use the internet. They don't say that like in those words, but the way they treat you when they hear, oh, you don't have an Instagram or something, you know? It comes through. That emotion comes through. And that's part of the reason why I feel like it's so toxic. A toxic environment. And just recently I made this is just an example of another just reason why I try not to live on the internet anymore like I did when I was younger. A friend had a post about something. That reminded me of a book that I really liked, so I recommended the book because I thought that his thought process was very in line with what this book talks about. Then some random other person who's never talked to me before comments on my post telling me why my book recommendation sucks. And I tried not to let it get to me, but it's kind of hard not to. 'Cause it's like, if you don't like my book recommendation, make your own, okay? Don't tell me that my recommendation sucks. I liked this book, so whatever. Yeah. So it makes sense that people would not have a lot of common courtesies that we would extend to each other in a real life face-to-face situation. Say if you are there standing around a table and someone has their photos printed out on the table, these photos that they took. Or art that they made, and they've got it all spread out on the table, and everyone's gathered around because the person who made it wants to show it off. Imagine some random person just coming, taking a photo, taking an artwork, and just walking away and doing whatever they wanted with it. That's basically, I feel like, what AI is doing right now, the way people are using it. So I mean, I know it's not exactly the same. That's not a perfect metaphor, but that's the feeling. That's what it feels like to know, oh, by the way, all of the artwork that you've uploaded to Instagram is part of our AI, and we are making money off of our AI services, but we're not giving you any of that money or even any credit, which is basically valueless, but at least it would be an acknowledgement that it's not their product alone. Whatever. It's such a complicated situation. Well, this one I tried drawing the bees from a sort of down angle. Instead of straight on top, we're at, I don't know, 45-degree angle. I do kind of like it more, but having this fellow looking straight at the viewer is kind of, I don't want to say it's off-putting, but it completely distracts from who are supposed to be our main characters. These two are supposed to be our main characters. This one is stealing the spotlight now because they're looking straight at us. So maybe what I need to do is try this again and see about adding more characters to the scene. Maybe once I add more bees it won't seem as awkward because it feels a little too perfect right now. I could also try to make them smaller again, more like this size. Honestly, of all these 8 that I've done, I like this one the best. Because we even do have a little bit of angle here, the way I've drawn this bee here. I went to straight up, straight on top for these 3. Okay, I'm going to print another sheet for these scale sketches. And I'll try starting from this point and see about drawing it pretty much like this and adding more bees and see how that looks. So just got to go over to my big monitor. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute because I am farther away from my mic. Let's print. Hold on, it's just showing me a blank page. Oh, there we go. Portrait, please. Print. Okay, there it goes. Bring my monitor back over. One day it would be cool if I had a studio big enough that I could just have all my workspaces one big workspace. So all I had to do was scoot my chair over. But right now it's organized. I'll try to show you with my hands. I've got my one long table here. The other one is the same exact table, or same exact kind of table. It's not literally the same table. They're still the same type of table. And it's an L shape. And then here, where I'm sitting right now, is a drafting table. So it's kind of like this T shape. So I've got my physical media workspace where I'm at right now, and then I have my digital media workspace here, which means I always have to walk around the upways part of the T in order to do anything on my desktop PC. So that's why I'm always walking around in here. Okay, let's do this. I don't know, should I bother with the line down the middle or should I just go for it? Let's do the line in the middle. I did it on the other one too, so we'll use that. There's not room. It's hard. So I need to center it. It's not exactly 12 centimeters. It's a little bit bigger. So I just center this square in between the 1 and the 12, and then I know that the 6 should be the midpoint there. Something else that might help me is if I can somehow find another example of a bee warming pile, because the image that I have is just a stock image and it's not high resolution because I'm just looking at it on the website. So, and I know we were just talking about using images without people's permission. It's such a gray, murky area. It's like, does this count as me using their image? Should I be paying them to even look? But I have to toe that line. I have no other way. Oh, Wolfax, thank you and hello! Yay! Thank you so much for donating 10 pounds to support Veganuary! You're the best! Woohoo! are you, Wolf? So glad to see you. Oh, I'm so excited that I'm getting tongue twisted. Thank you so much. We only had 2 days left for this campaign. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I and the animals of the world appreciate it. Wow, that's so exciting. Yay! I had to finish it before the buzzer. Nice. I like that. Sarah says, think looking at something for reference is different than straight up copying or saving and reposting an image. Well, I appreciate hearing that because that does make me feel better. I feel like it's a slippery slope, you know? Kind of like when people want to say, it's not exactly the same thing, but the concept of how it can devolve into a completely different state, I guess, is similar to when people say, oh, well, if you're intolerant of my intolerance, then you're just a hypocrite, you know? It's not exactly the same thing, but it kind of feels like that. Like, what is the point at which I am being a hypocrite by looking at other people's photos to see what a bee looks like? So I did. Thank you so much for doing that too, because I think I would have forgotten. So many people moved in the past month or two. So you, Sarah, my little sister, I feel like there was another person. At least 3 people. So like losing track of who I need to ask for their new address. So thank you so much for doing that. It was definitely in there. So the rewards, which I sent out first thing yesterday morning, should be going to your new address. So hooray! Yeah. How else are we supposed to create things accurately without reference? I mean, I think I'm doing better than, I can't remember his full name, but the Audubon Society is named after him, the Bird Society. And the story with him is, and his artwork is beautiful. He has these beautiful illustrations of all kinds of different birds, all kinds of species. He would document them in illustration form, in illustrated form. But the thing was, he was killing all of these birds in order to pose them so that he could have the reference. And to be honest, if I think of it that way, if I think, oh, either I need to kill a bunch of bumblebees or I need to look at people's photos and use them as reference without telling them, I would rather do this. So there are alternatives, and some of them I'm like, don't like this. Okay, I'm ready. I got those gutter lines marked. I'm going to try this one. So we're not straight down, at least with this one. This one looks straight down. Maybe that's another thing. This one looks like it's from the side. This one looks like it's a 45-degree angle. Okay, let's try it again. So, oh wait. I want to make sure I don't keep drawing it the way I had been drawing it. So we have a little curve. That's another thing. I kept drawing them sort of just straight and not having their nice little curvy bean bodies. And for the chibi bees, we want bean bodies. And in fact, I should make it even bigger and cuter. Okay, add the eyes. Okay, so far so good. Liking it. I'm liking it. So bee bean number 2. Yeah, and this is bugging me. It's bugging me. Because they're bugs. It's bugging me because this individual, we are seeing it directly from the side, which makes no sense with a cute cuddle of bees. Or whatever you call it. I think cuddle is nice because we learned yesterday that they get in this pile like this to get warm. Anyway, the angle just doesn't make sense. So either it should be a little bit closer to this one or a little bit closer than this one, depending on what part of the pile they're in. So what if we have this fellow like this. So we're going to have the curve because it's cute, but not be from the side as much. Trying to look from the same 45-degree angle. So as if they are turning. So their body is curving because I can't turn my finger like that. They're turning their body. Oh, I can do my hand. So they're turning like this instead of like this, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So we do that. Then we've got a little bit of space right here for the speech bubble. Are they cuddling on a vertical or horizontal surface? It's kind of a rough surface, I'm imagining. I'm imagining actually sort of a concave, right? Yes, a concave surface, because they're in their nest and they nest underground. So, or at least just on the ground. So I'm imagining something like this, but then they're climbing on top of each other, and so it's like a little ball of bees. That's what I'm imagining. Maybe I should look at my reference. I didn't look at it yet today. But do you have any ideas? Because if you do, I'm happy to hear anything. This is not that easy to think about. It would actually be way easier if I was just illustrating a bee on a leaf or something, but this is such a unique activity, we'll say. Yeah, some are like, so I guess we are seeing some from the side, but they are farther in the back. Some are coming straight out. Just a quick look. This is the pile of bees warming themselves. It's not the same species as the Hunt's bumblebee that I want to depict, but I couldn't actually find the Hunt's bumblebee, so. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, hopefully this image helps. I don't want to draw this exact image, you know? This is just reference. So, I feel like if I could find more like this, but it's really hard. I haven't been able to find any. Oh, and this is also from your mythical creature book. This one is finally going back to, do you remember it was last year or the year before I made the cows piece with all the different colored cows, and it said mo, mo, and moo, moo, and there's like strings of this onomatopoeia flying through the sky and everything? Yep. This is that series. I'm finally making another one back into that series. This is number 8, I think, because I have cat, frog, crow, mouse, dog. I'm missing one. Cat, frog. Oh, no. Cat, frog, mouse, crow, dog. I'm missing one. Cat, frog, crow, mouse, dog. Who am I missing? Owl. Owl and cow. So now we're on bees. Oh, good. Oh, and you remember the frogs. Yeah, I kind of want to call back to the frogs by doing a straight down look, but I haven't been able to make it work yet. I guess it's because this is the only reference I have that really has that feeling that I want. It is really cute and cuddly. So this picture, I'm like thinking and then my speaking stops. This picture's at a 45-degree angle, so maybe that's why I'm feeling like this works better. Just because that's what is in my imagination. Let's see. I'm going to try searching more. Whenever I search a bumblebee instead of bumblebees, it gives me Transformers. That's not what I'm looking for. It's like bumblebees inside of flowers. That's not exactly what I'm looking for, though. Maybe I'll put bumblebees in their nest. I want to get some more ideas into my head. Well, these ones are looking after eggs, but at least it's a different angle. Something I'm noticing, though, is their wings aren't moving, and so now I wonder if I should just scrap this idea and go to one of my other ones, because the wings are where the sound comes from. So I am seeing lots of bees. Now with this, I put bumblebees in their nest. They're showing lots of bees taking care of eggs. But that other reference that I was using mainly, their wings also were not moving. So I don't think it would actually necessarily be that noisy. I don't think it would be making a buzz buzz sound. Like, here's an example of them taking care of their eggs, but all their wings, you can see, are closed. Neatly tucked back. Bumblebees go buzz buzz because they're flying, or they're moving their wings at least. Yeah. I feel like I was thinking about that before and I forgot, because I really like that cluster illustration, but that's not serving the point of this book, which is teaching onomatopoeia. For me, it doesn't make sense to just slap on the onomatopoeia when they're not actually in a state of making the noise. I don't know how they stay warm, but I don't think anyone will fault you for saying buzz when not flying. It's hard. It's hard to decide. Am I just being too perfectionistic? But it would be consistent with my other illustrations. Because, for instance, on the cow's illustration, I made sure that the two cows that had a speech bubble coming off of them actually had their mouth open. Even though it was just a little tiny, it was a little teeny tiny part of the illustration, but they actually had their mouth open for the speech bubble to come out. This is the tough part of what I was saying earlier, that with my illustrations, at least my illustration process, I'm both making and solving a puzzle at the same time. So I'm also choosing the rules and everything that makes up the puzzle. Yeah, oh, I don't know if you noticed this. I was troubled by this being in that other sketchbook where I can't pull the pages out without the opposing page falling out. So I just made a photocopy of my brainstorming. So for this brainstorming, the three things I highlighted was bee pile. So that's what I've been working on. But I also highlighted flying and flowers. Let's see if any of my sketches give me some inspiration. I would be able to show off their cute chibified, the cute chibified shape, especially this one. Look at this one. I just want this. I want this to be a little plushie that I hold in my hand. But I can't show it off as much when it's just a big pile of bees. So that's another reason not to do this. Not just the sound thing, but being able to display adorable chibified bees. I did do some flying ones. Here's where I figured out, oh, bees are always simplified to fly like this, but actually they fly like a little bean. That's how they fly, with the back half hangs down like. Oh, let me see. You could have the camera overhead looking down on a small scene of flowers with bees pollinated flowers are flying to another one. Yeah! Maybe that's the solution. I love that. Thank you. Because the second favorite thumbnail sketch that I did was this one. But I didn't like doing this one because it looks like so many others where where the viewer is just looking straight on from a, what is this, a 90-degree angle? I think so. Just looking straight on at the flowers. Oh look, I do have the speech bubbles up high. That's something I wanted to do to keep the variety in my, across all of the illustrations. But taking this, turning it so that we are looking straight down on it, that completely changes it, and I did not try that, so yay! This is why I live stream, because you guys are full of great ideas when my ideas are tapped. And it doesn't mean there aren't any more. Yeah, I should definitely try that. I should definitely try that next. I even have 2 spots still left here. Thank you for saying so cool. Also, I don't know exactly what you were saying so cool to, but I feel like maybe it was complimenting something that I did. So, thank you. Thank you for that positive message in the chat. I drew a lot of flying ones, so that's the problem with spending that much time doing other things. Because I took a big break, 5-week break. I forgot that I was trying to focus on flying. Okay. We're just gonna keep making sketches. That's how it works. At least that's how it works for me. Well, Sarah says, I was just looking on YouTube to see if they buzz and cluster, but people talk or put music over it. Dang. Well, thanks for trying to help. Yeah. That's too bad. That would have been a great decider. Like, if they did somehow buzz, even if they're in, like, maybe the photo doesn't capture it, but maybe they are buzzing because they're going me like this. Because I've heard of that before. Some bugs will buzz, or some bugs will shiver or shiver their wings so that they can warm up. Now you're just having me looking at pics of bees on flowers. I don't think that's too bad of a thing, so you're welcome, I guess. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yay. I'm glad you like the sketches, because this is the part of the piece where I feel the most unsure. Because nothing has been decided, and everything is possible, which is actually overwhelming. So, having that little positivity in there makes me feel better. Okay, I'm trying to get this not to fall down. Don't fall down, please. Just stay there. My little SpongeBob in a burger mobile is helping hold this stuff up. Okay. Let's try this. I love this. I love this idea. So, I remember I looked up specific flowers for this. I think these were thistles because the Hunt's bumblebee likes thistles. So what if we do thistles from the top? Can I find a picture of a thistle from overhead. Thistle overhead view. Let's see. And it doesn't have to be as zoomed out as this scene is either. This scene is very far out. We could have just like a big thistle here, and one here, and one here, or something like that. Well, they do have some, but they're all really, on Google search results, they're all really zoomed in. Oh, here's a good one. Showing how some are closer. I just realized my overhead light is on. Whatever. But I don't like it because it does that, because it has that circle on there. I'll just hold this. I'll turn it off during a break. This is a nice way to see it, because you can see as the flowers grow all along the stem. So you can see one higher. So that would be so cool. That's something I haven't done. Have bees at multiple levels moving away. So I haven't done that with a top-down view. I mean, I sort of did it with the frogs, because we had the frogs on the lily pads and then we had the frogs underwater, but that was just 2 levels and they weren't very far away. But if we do this thistle, we could have a really big bee and a medium bee and a little teeny tiny bee. Oh, nice. Let me see. Yay, thank you for all of the help with research and inspiration. This is awesome. Oh yeah, look at that. So here's one. Lots of bees flying. Oh yeah, I've seen this one. It's so cute. So cute. Look at them. Cuddling in the flower. They're working so hard they have to take a little break. Oh yeah, this is so cute too. Look, it's just working so hard, covered with pollen. We're just working so hard. Oh. My eyes are watering because they're so cute. Sarah, why are you sending me this? Sarah sent me this a bit ago. What does this mirror do, Professor? It shows us nothing more or less than the deepest, most desperate desire of our hearts. Moon Knight Season 2! Yes! Yes! Oh, especially... I mean, hopefully this isn't a spoiler. It's not about the story, but Moon Knight is in the 3rd season of What If, and I was so happy. And he was only in 1 episode, but I was like, Moon Knight! Oh my god! It was so exciting because it was actual, what is his name? Oscar Isaac, I think? Who plays him? Ugh. You guys are jazzing me up with these great pictures and funny, funny memes. Okay, so I think, yeah. Glad you liked it. Yep, she sure did. It's perfect. It's true. Moon Knight is definitely top fave. It hasn't... Let's put it this way, it's kind of a negative thing, but it hasn't been ruined yet because, for instance, Doctor Strange was my favorite of the MCU, and then the 2nd movie came out, and it was so disappointing to me, and now it's hard to be like, Doctor Strange is still my fave because I can't watch that 2nd movie because it's so distressing. Like, it's so violent, and not for any real purpose other than being violent, which... really is disturbing for me, so I can't enjoy that 2nd movie. Plus, the story was not very good. I thought that nothing much really happened, you know? Anyway, Moon Knight has not been ruined yet. And I still love it. I actually think I put it on my list of things that I hope to do this year, which is watch it again. So, along with Loki. I'm going to watch Loki again. Okay. I'm having such a great time chatting with you. Let's start. Let's get sketching. So first I'm going to sketch little circles showing thistles. Let's have some coming off of the frame too, so that it's not super perfect. We don't want it perfectly contained, because then that feels more like a set up portrait, which all illustrations are, set up, but we want it to look like it's a natural scene. Like this is just organic, this is how it grew. So we've got a wide variety of shapes, and some are coming in and some are bigger and all this stuff. So we only have 3 minutes until break. We can even have one under, we're having them overlap. We can do that here too. We'll have it overlap. So these circles are just representing the thistle flowers as viewed from straight down. Yeah, it's so weird because I like those Spider-Man. Well, I like the first one. So Sam Raimi does have a special, with an X, a special spot in my heart for the Spider-Man movies. Yeah, this is like, I went into the theater full of high hopes because I was like, oh, I love that first Spider-Man movie. It was the Tobey Maguire one, right? But then, I was very disappointed. So disappointed. I try not to think about it too much because it really just, like, I am an otaku geek. These things matter to me. So even though it's like, well, it's just a movie or whatever, but it matters to me. So yeah, it's Moon Knight hasn't been ruined. Loki, it's great because I don't think Loki can be ruined because it's over. They better not make more because I don't want them to. I like how it ended. I thought that it was so beautiful. It was just I loved it so much. Okay, so now let's have one of our bees coming in. And since they're flying, we can actually have the wings out. So this is cool. This is a different... That would look really cute like that. Already, though, I'm wondering if I want to make this bigger, but we're just going to work on it as is. Let's work on one scene, see what it looks like, then we'll do another one. So we've got this person is going here, but we could have smaller bees heading in for the lower ones as well. So that's really cool because we can have some really huge size differences. And maybe up here we'll have this fellow coming in from over here. Whee! And that way. Wolf, which is the second one of those Spider-Man movies? The first one is Green Goblin. And then I can't remember because I've only seen the second one, I think twice. And then the third one, I only ever saw it for the first time last year, I think. So I don't remember the third one very well, or the second one either. Oh, Doc Ock, okay. Oh, break time. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, Sarah's gonna lurk. Okay, have a fun lurk. Yay! Doc Ock, okay. Yeah, I did like that. I don't know if it's too much spoilers, but let me just say that I really loved the newer Spider-Man movie that had Doctor Strange in it. That was awesome. I love that movie. Now that you remind me of Doc Ock, oh yeah, that movie was so cool. Oh, it made it, that's why I watched the third one for the first time. Because of that. Okay. But if anybody hasn't seen it yet, I won't say anything more. And I recommend watch all the Spider-Man movies, starting with those like 2000. What did the first one came out around 2000, I think. Or it was 2004 or something. Anyway, it is break time. So let's have a break. You've never seen the third and look forward to never watching it again. I feel like the third one was really depressing, if I'm remembering it correctly, so probably, yeah. But I can't actually remember. Anyway, let's do it. Let's have a break. Time to take a break. I encourage everyone else to do the same. Take a break, stand up, get some water, or give your eyes a rest at least by looking at something off in the distance if you've been looking at a screen. I'm going to put my be right back sign on, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you had a great break. I took a little bit longer break than I expected because I was so excited. There was a couple letters, a card and a letter from my aunt and uncle-in-law, and I couldn't help reading them real quick. So it took a little bit longer than I expected, but okay. Have a safe trip home, Wolf. Thank you for sticking around long enough, especially with me being a little bit late back from break. Thank you, and thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate it so much. Yay! Have a great day if I don't see you again before the end of it. Alright, let's get back to this bees scene. I'm actually feeling a lot better. It's hard to let go, you know? It feels like, oh, I wasted all my time with this. But actually, it's not a waste because I tried lots of different iterations, and it turns out that it was bugging me anyway. Bugging, again with the bugging, because they have to be flying to make a buzz sound. And I feel a lot better about this. I'm like, thanks to Wolf, the idea of basically looking down on this scene. I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds because we can have a top-down view of cute bumblebees, but also have them flying. And why are they flying? So we've got the reason why as well. So that's the thistles. They're going to be flying to collect some pollen and whatever else they collect, pollen and nectar. And oh, Aoife just came in. Chappie came back in with me, but Aoife didn't. So they had their pedicure. They got their nails done today. So they both have new toys because the pedicure company always gives them a new toy afterwards. So Chappie brought hers down with her and she's laying her head on it. They're like little rope balls with a rope handle. Okay, anyway. I'm actually quite liking this scene so far. So we have the bee here, and my idea is that we'd have buzz happening right here. We'd have a speech bubble there. I don't know about the main character being off in the corner though, so that's something we could think about in another iteration. But for now, let's just work with this one. And then we've got this fellow, so we could have buzz coming up from here. It's not at the top of the page, but most important is creating a scene that works. So if I'm not checking all these different boxes of things I want to be different from the other ones, that's okay, as long as overall the scene works. And the top-down thing, again, I think there's only one other illustration in this series so far. It is a top-down scene, that's the frogs. So we could have bees coming in. I'm gonna do a different, in fact, I'll use my marker. We'll make them black for now. So let's make the bees black, and that way I can just quickly draw. So we can have little teeny tiny bees. Bees leaving the scene. We could have one leaving the scene. And we could have some landed too. They don't all have to be flying. And we could have really small ones lower, filling this space. Like that one's wings would be down. This one's wings would be out. This one's wings out. One big one right there. Could have the ones with the speech bubbles being way high, like they're flying over. Okay, let's try it again. Yes, it's coming along. I just realized that I was having so much fun reading those letters that I didn't actually have any sustenance. Have my juice shake here that I'm loving I've been loving making for my streams so that I can have something with nutrition in it and calories, but also it's really easy to eat and the least annoying sound on a stream. So I think gulping is less annoying than chewing. Plus, it's faster to consume it so I can get back to work. Okay. I'm thinking hard. So I've got this scene now in my mind. I'm thinking a little bit more hard about the lines that I'm going to put down on this page. This isn't my last one. I can just print another sheet of these, but I don't want to end up drawing the same thing because I do that sometimes. I'm so excited. I'm like, let's draw another one. I end up drawing it exactly the same and not making any changes. So my idea was here. Oh, look, I even put try different angles of favorite compositions next. There's just so much to think about. There's so much to remember. Okay. And my next idea was, what if we have really big bees because they're very close to the viewer. And those are the ones with the speech bubble. Even though it's not speech, but it's okay. This is just a symbol that we humans understand that means the sound is being made by this particular individual. So this bee is flying in this direction. I'm thinking of having another bee flying this way. But the problem with that is that they might collide, you know. So there are several things I can do to address that. I could have them just flying a different direction, but having them fly out of the scene I feel like it gives them less power, and I want them to have just as much power as each other, because I don't want there to be some inherent seeming bias for one language or the other, because we're teaching two languages here. We're teaching English and teaching Japanese. Another thing I could do is have the other bee be a little smaller to show they're lower in the scene. That does have the issue of, does that mean this language is more important? But if it's just a little bit smaller, I don't feel, it doesn't bother me as much anyway to have them be farther down. Just so that they won't collide with this person. But I could also have a sort of parallel flight happening, trying not to have it too perfect, because if it's too perfect, it feels really obvious when you're looking at it and you see that instead of seeing the bees. So I could have the other bee like this. And we've got the speech bubble here. Maybe moving this down into the middle a little bit. But then basically having this scene below. So our two main characters are flying above the scene. Maybe they're looking for, they've already tapped all the flowers they can find. So they're flying up high to scout out some new flowers off in the distance. Maybe that's the story. Meanwhile, all these bees are working the flowers they've claimed or found, or have hope to find some tasty treats inside. So if I just pop this on top of here, I feel like that would be great. I just take this. So instead of having these ones speaking or making sound, they're not speaking, they don't speak, but the main character bees are just way bigger. I actually kind of like how this gives a sort of yin-yang feeling. I feel like I want to move this side to the side so it's a little bit more centered and also a little bit down. All right. I feel really good about that. Sweet, I do have some. The marker went through the page, but that's okay. So adjust my little camera so that it's looking more at the sketches I'm actually going to be using. These two. So let's try sketching it bigger now. It's funny because I was talking earlier about how so many professionals and mentors and teachers told me that I need to work faster. But they also taught me these methods, which you can't rush coming up with ideas, really, if you want to actually come up with lots of ideas. Or at least I can't. My brain doesn't work like that. I need time to percolate and think and research and get inspiration and talk to other people like awesome Twitch chatters. So, it's interesting. Nobody tells me that anymore, but that sort of echoes in your mind. After 3 years of being told that, it's hard to forget it. So it bothers me a lot, I'll be honest. It comes back and it wrinkles a little bit. I'm like, I can't work any faster and make the quality of work that I want to make work that I'm proud of, that I feel like was worth the time spent. It's way more important to me to make quality work than to make a lot of quantity of work. Okay, so we've got our bee here with speech bubble. So this one on the left page, I wanted to move a little in and down. I think. Maybe I actually want it up, but the speech bubble for this person over here, and I just have to be careful not to put it too close to the edge. I mentioned before, we need that bleed edge like about an inch to be reserved for the printing process. It's not really a problem when I print giclée prints of this. My printer is really nice about, I just print at home with a Epson something, XP900 or something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's an at-home art printer. And it actually prints really well, but the really big printing services have completely different ways of printing, and that's why you need to be aware of the bleed edge because of the way they print. I think they actually print on really huge sheets. I've never seen it. This is just taking the knowledge I have and putting it into place in a way that makes sense to me, but I think they print on really huge big sheets and then they cut it. And so the cutting can sometimes be a little off. But I've also had it even at home. If you want to print to edge of the paper, then it can cut a little tiny bit off. So that's also possible. Because it prints just a little bit over in order to make sure it's not under. This speech bubble bothers me, and I think it's because even though it makes sense that it would be coming out of the wings, it's just not what we expect. We expect the speech bubble to come out of the head even though it's coming from the wings. So maybe for my speech bubbles here, I could have them coming out of the sides. I'm trying to get them to be at the top, but that's not the most important thing. If I have them coming out of the sides, that could indicate that it's coming from the wings. So the wings start here, right before or right after the eyes. There's that little thorax bit here, and then the wings start. I feel like this makes more sense, actually. And this makes less sense, because it's not coming out of the eye. It's definitely not coming out of their little proboscis or whatever their eating tool is that they are endowed with. Let's try something else. What if we have them going in a V? So not exactly at the same height on the page, but going instead of going in a circle, kind of. This feels circular. What if we have them coming out like this? So the head of this one is here, and the head of this one is here. Speech bubble could be here. Maybe move it down a little bit. We don't want any tangents. Tangents are when two elements just barely touch perfectly right on an edge like that. Put a speech bubble here. Yeah, what if we did this, but just a little lower? And then I'm going to scoot this person a little bit. I don't want it too close to the gutter, though. This isn't the final sketch, so it's okay, but I just want to keep it in mind. So if we scoot this B a little bit toward the middle, then that leaves a little more room. It's a little more comfortable fitting in a speech bubble up high. I want a piece of tracing paper. I'm gonna go get one. Just in my drawer here behind my workstation. This is a bit big. 9 by 12. Do I have anything smaller? Sorry if you can't hear me very well, since I'm behind. I feel like I might have had something smaller, but I'm not finding it. This is vellum, and here's rag of paper. Some more rag paper. Okay. These are not. Oh, I'm almost out of this tracing paper too. Maybe it's in this pile. Manga paper, Bristol. I have so much paper. I probably have enough paper to last me decades in here. Marker paper, 2 different kinds. Oh, here's marker boards as well. Cool. but this is not tracing paper. Oh, maybe this is the only one I have. Oh, this could be in a different drawer. Oh, not that one. Nope. Maybe what I had is actually bigger tracing paper. Oh yeah. Okay, this is it. I'll stick with the one I found first. I thought I had multiple sizes of tracing paper, and I do, but the one I found first, this one is actually the smaller. I have a huge 11 by 14. This is 9 by 12. I was hoping to find something a little smaller for this. I just want to be able to lay tracing paper on top so that I can try drawing this scene just on top so I don't have to keep redrawing these two. And this tracing paper always likes to stick together, so I'm trying my best to make sure it's actually one sheet. So often I end up pulling two sheets out. Okay. Ah. Set the rest of that. I'm going to have to buy some more of that. Not imminently, but I think there's only a few sheets left now. Okay. What should I do about the outline? I guess I'll just go like this. Let's get a general sense of where it's supposed to line up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but... And, real quick, I'm gonna have another gulp or two of my delicious juice shake. Yummy. It's got chia seeds, juice, soy milk, greens powder. It's also got some water in there just so that it's more hydrating and lasts longer. Okay. Here we go. And I think I'm just going to try doing it with markers so I could do it faster instead of doing outlines. So if this were the placement of these two big bees, a flower could be nice right here. Like a big one. And then we'll have the littler ones. They're growing down. Like we saw in that one picture. We could have another flower here. Because we don't want to be afraid of the gutter. We actually do want to sacrifice some things to the gutter so that it will look natural when you see it printed like this instead of in the book. We could have some overlap too. Doesn't have to be perfectly separated from one another. In fact, it's better when elements aren't perfectly separated from one another and there is overlap. That can be hard to remember though. Excuse me. I had a little revisit from my juice shake. Ah, this cap doesn't post. I forget about that. Okay, just set it there. It won't roll away because it's cradled by these other tools here. So right now I'm just making the flowers. the indication of the flowers, in fact. I'm not even drawing flowers, I'm just drawing circles. Yeah, we could have this one underneath the speech bubble, because again, I don't want to be afraid of it. I don't want to be afraid of things connecting. Camera's having trouble staying focused. I wonder what the deal is. Maybe if I put it in a little closer. Thank you for letting me know about that. Especially right now, I'm way into it. I'm trying to get it to be centered. Or straight. There. Hopefully it'll do better now. Oh. Keeps refocusing. The carnes. I didn't even notice that. I put it together on my own. The carnes. Autocorrect. The carnes. That's our new secret word for camera. The carne. Okay, so if I have the field of flowers like this. Oh, wait. I don't like it. You know why? These two are perfectly safe except for one little piece of wing from overlap. I don't remember which marker I was using. Maybe it was this one. We don't want to be afraid of that overlap. We want to embrace the overlap, encourage the overlap. I think this marker is actually lighter than I was using. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, that's way better too. It just looks nicer. So when I lift this up, it's kind of hard to see in the camera. There, I'll hold it at an angle, you can see it better. This pattern looks nice on its own, I feel like. So then we place it back over the bees. That's why I wanted to do this. I wanted to be able to step away from these bees and not have to keep redrawing and redrawing them because it's hard to imagine the scene without them. I don't know if I'm explaining myself right, but this is exactly what I was hoping would happen by using the tracing paper. So I can see the pattern on its own. It looks nice, looks strong. It's just visually satisfying and it's filling up the space well. It doesn't seem too symmetrical to me. We've got overlap happening even among the flowers. But we've also got what I think is a naturalistic spacing of the biggest ones because thistles are huge plants. They need a lot of room, so they wouldn't be all grouped up in a big bunch. They do have multiple heads, flower heads, growing out of the single stem, or well, they actually have multiple stems on each stem. There are a different amount of flowers, but, or at least that's how I remember them when I imagine seeing them out on my runs on the Boise Greenbelt. We've got some thistles, and that's what they've looked like to me. So those are figured out, so let's add littler bees. What I wanted to do was, maybe I will actually use this marker on these bees. It's always rhyming. Always rhyming up in here. These bees. There. And they have that black. They're supposed to be the strongest. They're closest to the viewer, so I want them to be the strongest element. Oh, thank you. That is actually a totally legitimate illustration career pathway. One of the many guest illustrators that we had in my time at Boise State getting my degree was a local illustrator who had graduated from Boise State, and what she first started doing, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe it wasn't the first thing, but one of her first paid illustration pathways that she followed was getting her patterns licensed for things like printed napkins and other household goods, you know, tea towels and pillowcases and all kinds of stuff. There's these whole shows that happen where you show your illustrations of that nature, and then various licensors will work with you and license your work. They will license it like for a year or for a season or for a few years or whatever, and then after the license expires, it comes back to you so you could try to sell it again, or you could use it yourself, or all this, depending on the terms of the license and everything. But yeah, that's a total legit career path. So thank you. I take that as a high compliment. Yeah, quilting fabrics and even scrapbooking papers, all kinds of stuff, like birthday supplies, disposable birthday party supplies. Okay, something that I want to avoid, I think, is having any bees in the line of vision of these two. Because even though they're closest to the viewer, so they're biggest, this is still a flat piece of paper. So I feel like that psychic line is really powerful, and I don't want anyone to be, so the psychic line is the line that we imagine the vision happening. So we see these eyes and we can imagine a line here, and that's the psychic line. So I don't want to put any bees here or here. Even though technically they might be there because we're on different planes. We've got this really high up plane, but then these other ones are lower. So technically they could be there, but I don't want them to. For illustrative purposes, for storytelling purposes. So, but we do want lots of them to be flying. We could have one or two sitting actually on the flower, but we want lots of flying because that will help explain why is there so many buzz sounds flying around in the air. It makes more sense if there's lots of reason for the buzz to be there. Okay, so we could have one bee here, flying. We can have one here, sacrificing to the gutter. We can have all kinds of heights too. This one's really pushing it though for that psychic line, what I told you. But this one's really, really far down. And I have to remember these speech bubbles. Let me outline those. Gotta remember the speech bubbles. Oh, that's not very round at all. That's okay. It's just a sketch. Okay. Back to it. I was just thinking, I could have a bee, say, on this flower. But would I have their head sticking out this way? Or would they be half cut off? Like one half of their body is under the speech bubble, one half is not. They have their head coming out and their body is covered by the speech bubble. I mean, I don't even have to put a bee there. I don't think I will, actually. We could have one flying to that flower and overlapping with this flower below. But I feel like actually I don't want to put a bee right here. That would be too much going on, you know? For this little area that's almost practically in the corner here. It's a little bit too much. Okay, so what are the directions we have? We have a bee flying this way, one flying this way, one flying this way, up. So we don't really have any flying in this direction yet. So let's do that so that we can get Some nice variety in here. So we want it to look really busy. We want it to be obvious that it would be noisy. So I do know from my own experience, real world experience, on a hot summer day, and you walk by my front garden with all these huge flowering, I don't know what I think they're called catmint or something, but they have all these purple flowers, and they're just these giant sort of shrubby bushy things, and the bees in there, and it's going hum, and it's just this constant buzz sound. So that's what I want to create visually here, is that feeling of, wow, there's so many bees. They're so loud. Let's do a little bee here. So how many bees do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got 8 bees in here so far. Unless I'm missing some. I want there to be more bees in that. Let's add some more bees. I want someone in the corner here. Or maybe I should just leave the corners. Plus, yeah, I gotta remember, protect that gutter. Or not gutter, that bleed edge. Actually going to draw, I don't know if this is equivalent to an inch, but I'm just going to draw a little outline. Slightly in. It's okay if some parts of bees are in the bleed area, but I wouldn't want something important like their eyes to be in that area. So if I am going to have a bee here, the eyes should just be already cut off and you're only seeing the end of it anyway. Or more like how this bee has a little bit of the wing is in that area. So if a little bit of the wing gets cut off, it doesn't really affect the overall impression of this bee. Yeah, and so now that I've done that, I really don't want to add anything into this section. I mean, maybe a flower, but I think it would be fine just to leave it be sort of general greenery look. Make it like greens and browns, showing the earth and any other plant material that's far below the scene we're looking at. The connection of the bees that we have is like this. We've got a line here, here, here. So right here we have a triangle happening. And this one is sort of encased in almost a diamond shape. But everybody is very perfectly separated from one another. So let's do a bee. We've got this one who we've sacrificed to the gutter. Let's do a smaller one so they're below on a lower plane. But as far as on the page goes, they're very close to each other, so we can have a little bit of grouping happening so that it doesn't have to be so evenly spaced. That image that Wolf sent me comes to mind. I kind of want to look at it again and see what how many bees there were in it. It was from the side instead of top down, but yeah, there's lots of bees in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can't tell if that's a bee. There's at least 10, and it looks like there might be one that's sort of blurry in the background. Sarah sent me another picture. That's so cute. I can totally imagine it. This is a review. Don't order from him. This is a cat in an ice cream truck scratcher, and it says total scam and horrible customer service. I paid for my ice cream. Been waiting for more than 30 minutes now. He started swatting at me and tried to run me over, then proceeded to bite his truck like an animal. You can even see. You can see where the kitty actually did bite. Oh, thank you for that. Oh, now I want me some ice cream, but I don't get ice cream until Saturday. Saturday is my ice cream dessert day. I don't know what flavor I have in the fridge. Last week I finished off this delicious, in fact, the brand is called So Delicious, and it's some sort of chocolate with chocolate pieces in it, and it was the best. It was so yummy. I'm sad that it's gone. Oh, we both have ice cream on Saturdays. Wait, you're saying that, right? You're saying that you also have ice cream on Saturday? Because that's awesome. I mean, sometimes I might do something else and not have ice cream, but generally, Saturday is my ice cream day. Oh, okay. I was like, what? We've been eating. We're synchronizing across the country. Whatever. You have ice cream any day. Yeah. Saturday is actually my fast food at home day. So I have my favorite veggie nuggets. Any brand, actually. You can't go wrong with any brand of veggie nuggets. So I think the veggie nuggets I have for this week are the Gardein ones. And then some sort of seasoned French fries. I just rotate. Use up the bag of crisp cut fries, and then next time we're going to get curly fries. Next time it's the just regular shoestring. And then I think the other brand, or not brand, the cut that I found of seasoned fry is crinkle cut. So I have the fries, I have the veggie nuggets, then I have some sort of steamed veggie so that it's not just all junk food. And then I have ice cream for dessert. So that's my thing. That's my Saturday thing. Man, I'm liking this. I feel like this is going to be the base for my final sketch. I'm really liking this, how this is coming out. I'm trying to carefully place each new bee at this point. Because everything else feels really good. It feels organic, but also satisfyingly sort of, it's not symmetrical, but it has that kind of satisfaction. So trying to see, where can I put another bee? Where would another bee look nice? Could put one on this flower, smaller, and then we've got another little group happening with this bee and this bee. So how many bees do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11. So that's 11. I'm wondering whether I should do a little overlap with the bees themselves and have another bee come out, but that might be a little bit too much. That might be too much to have another bee yeah, they're not technically touching if this was a real scene, but on paper they are touching. This might be too much. How about one right here? This is really empty space right there. This is super exciting. There's only a few minutes left in this stream, but I'm at a point where having the rest of the week and the beginning of next week until Wednesday to let it percolate. And then start the final sketch on Wednesday. I think that's going to be really good. This flower right here is very strong on its own, but I'm debating whether to place a bee on top like I've done here, or this is the only flower left that is not covered by something else or cut off by an edge. So maybe I can have just one flower be a really strong character, a strong supporting character. Just leave that flower be. Leave that flower be. B-E-E. Put little someone here. Oops, wrong end of the marker. We only have one so far that's like really super teeny tiny, so we could put little one here. The grays I'm using aren't as different from each other on the tracing paper as I hoped they'd be, so I hope I remember. I'm trying to make a shape that helps me remember this is supposed to be a flower, this is supposed to be a bee. What are the directions we have now? We have one looking this way, one looking this way, so we've got this X. This one is across. This one is going in the opposite direction. These two are the same. This one's a slightly different angle, and then we've got a couple. Actually, this is also angling up this way. Also angling, but this one angles this way, so that's all right. I have this teeny tiny flower there. Could put a teeny tiny bee on it, but that might be way too small to actually depict the bee effectively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, these are kind of in the middle, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't have to be even from side to side, but I'm just trying to keep track of how many bees I've done. I'll put one right here, just a little one. suppose what I'm not seeing is too many coming in from outside. There's only this one. Everybody else is perfectly framed. I mean, there's a little bit on the bleed area here and here, but we only have a single bee that's outside of this frame, which is a little too perfect. So, if we have somebody coming in here, and it's just their head, basically, is all we can see. Somebody coming in from there. I'll actually draw the whole thing so I remember this is supposed to be a bee, though. We're at time. Well, let's call this good for now. Maybe next week when I come back to it, I will just feel like this is good and ready to move on to the final sketch. But here's a little close-up view. Ugh, my other camera's in the way. There. I wonder why my main camera's struggling a little bit today. Maybe I need to restart my computer again. I already restarted it earlier today. Anyway, yay, I'm glad the tracing paper worked. I think this scene looks really nice, and it just didn't come into my head, even though I wrote a note to myself to try different angles. Live streaming has become such a key component in my successful illustration attempts. It's amazing. I never would have imagined it, but it really is. It's so helpful. Because it keeps me on task, and then sometimes I get great ideas from everyone watching. Okay. That's it for today. I think that I will just end the stream. I won't raid today. But I will be back tomorrow. Same time as usual. I'm going to be resuming work on Chibi Tiger the cat, so I hope you can join me for that. It would be lovely. Love that train of Got to Go Rangers. Yay! So I am going to call it a day here. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, but even if not, I want to wish you a very wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching.